Greetings, everyone. Welcome to EDL 621 Multicultural Education. This is a sprint hybrid course that will be taught at the Voice of America Center. We will have two face-to-face sessions on June 26th and July 3rd. Other than that, most of the work that we're going to be doing is going to be online. So I just want to orient you to a couple of places where you can find the tools that you need in order to be a part of this class. The Canvas site should be going up today, and here on this home page, you'll be connected right here to the syllabus. I'll also send an email where I'll have a PDF attachment of the syllabus that might be a little bit easier to read. But in terms of the information, everything should be here and connected on the Canvas page. Excuse me. So first things first, there are going to be two required textbooks that you'll need for EDL 621. This first book is by Wayne Al, Anthony Brown, and Dolores Calderon, Reclaiming the Multicultural Roots of U.S. Curriculum. And the second by Azam Sunsway and Robin DiAngelo is Everyone Really Equal? And the second edition is important in this text. Both of those books are available through the Miami University Bookstore, or you could also order them online through Amazon, and I put the links up on the page. My contact information is here. You have my office and cell phone number, as well as if we need to set up any type of virtual meetings, we can certainly do that. I live in the Cincinnati area, so if we end up needing to meet to discuss something, work or other types of questions you might have, we can always do that somewhere nearby. So I'm not going to go through and read everything to you, but I encourage you to look through the course description to really understand what this course is all about. Understanding the assumption and values that are embedded in this course. This is a sociocultural invested course using critical multiculturalism and critical race theory as guiding paradigms. This adheres to our department, the Department of Educational Leadership. Here are our principles you can link, and in terms of thinking about what our commitments are as a department in the college, and as well as what my own personal commitments are as your instructor of this course. So you can read through that in a bit more detail. Most of the materials, much of the reading is coming from these two texts, but then also anything else that I link are going to be up on the Canvas site. Now, in terms of the actual course itself, there are going to be four main areas of evaluation. And so, again, it's listed all here. Obviously, given that this is an online course, there's going to be some online discussion boards, as well as because we had the opportunity to meet in person, we're going to have a group project as well as your final positionality project. So let me go over these, and then should you have any questions after watching this podcast, you can certainly send me an email. So the online course, given that this is it's not just a summer course, but it's a sprint course, so it's only 4 weeks, so it will be an intense 4 weeks. So I'm hoping by releasing this, class doesn't actually start until the week of June 17th. Many of you might be still working in schools, or you might be in other courses, so whether or not this allows you time to do more preparation, I know is going to depend on everyone's individual schedules. So I'm releasing the course up now, so if you do want to get a head start, you can, but I certainly understand if you can't. Just know, though, that during those 4 weeks, we're condensing a 15-week class into just 4 weeks. So there are a lot of readings and work to do each week. So make sure you prepare and pace yourself for the rigor that this course is going to have in just this short period of time. I broke up the course by 4 weeks. I did 4 modules. The first is really just a pre-introduction module where I'm going to ask you to create a video introducing yourself to the class. You have until the end of the first week, or the middle of the first week, to do that. And then the other 3 discussion board posts are going to relate to the readings. Things are going to kind of overlap. I'm going to put up the initial posts in the beginning of the week, and they're going to be due every Friday. So even though we'll be transitioning, by Friday onto the next topic, you'll be answering the questions from that week. And then by Mondays, you should be responding to your classmates. And the idea, of course, behind this is, like this says here, stimulated dialogue. Because, when we're online, the best way that we can try to engage in conversation with each other is through dialogue. Now, something that I like to do with online discussion boards to make them a little bit more just like doable, because sometimes when, we have 15 people in the class, and that can be a lot of posts to read and respond to. So what I'll do each week is I'll put you in small groups, and these groups will change each week, so you'll have an opportunity to meet with other people in the class. And within these, your initial post of they're 30 points each, so that initial post will be worth 20 points. That's for you answering the questions and posing questions, etc. And then those remaining 10 points are going to be from the questions, comments, and responses that you share with your classmates. So by Friday, you need to post, and all of my due dates are midnight. So Friday by midnight, you need to put your post. Monday by midnight, you need to respond to each of the people within your small group. Ideally, you're responding sooner, and there is, again, an actual dialogue. It's not just a one-time thing, but perhaps a question, a comment, that you are all actually engaging with each other. So that is how the online discussion boards will work. There's 4 in total. These three being more of your content-based ones. This first one is simply an introductory video. I'll come back to that at the end. The second main assignment in the class is going to happen on our group, on our July 3rd face-to-face class. So also after this video, I will send a sign-up sheet that I ask for you to sign up for a topic. These are the 3 topics we're going to be covering: religion and education, gender and sexuality, or immigration and language. And you will work with a group. However you choose to do that is up to you. Given this is an mostly online class, you can just engage with each other through video chat. If it's easier just to meet up with some folks and plan, however that what may be, again, you have until July 3rd. I'm going to send the sign-up list sooner than later. You're welcome to get a head start on any of this that you want to. Now, I have some provided base readings that I'm going to assign for each of these topics, but the another component of this is that you will all each select a third reading for the topics. So 2 of them are provided by me, and 1 of them is provided by you. And so during this day, you're going to prepare a 45-minute interactive group discussion that incorporates the readings, and then whatever other activities, resources, ways that you are going to take the concepts from these topics and make them come real to life to us. Given this is a course on multicultural education, we're studying various forms of diversity. There's obviously going to be a heavy emphasis on race and ethnicity, but then there's these other ways that we think about intersecting differences. And that's something that in our first face-to-face class, I'll really be unpacking with you, and I'll be leading and facilitating, hopefully to also give an example of kind of what some of this might look like. I'll ask that you all provide me a handout lesson, hours before. If there's anything that you need feedback on or ideas, or maybe there's something that I'm like, oh, you know what, this might be really problematic, X, Y, Z. That's my goal there to provide that. As the instructor, to provide that support and feedback that I can. But basically, you're going to work through an overview of the readings, but also in this handout you're going to make for each other. These questions are here, and we can talk about that more specifically later on, but really just thinking about ways you can pull in maybe media, videos, maybe have us do an activity, something like that to help really hone in on the main objectives of looking at these topics. So that's the second graded assignment in the class. The third has to do with individual reflection papers, and it's connected to these other in-person classes. So you're going to do 2 individual reflections throughout the course, and then these will be 2 to 3 page papers, so they should be pretty short. The first one is going to be a racial narrative essay, and that'll be after the first face-to-face class you have with me. More details to come on that. I'll create a separate handout and bring it to that class that day, because I actually want you all to engage in class before writing it, but you can begin to think about the details that I'll share in a little bit. And then the second is really going to be a reflection of your group presentation that has to do with the content you're actually teaching, and then as well as thinking about how you felt the actual class session went. So it'll be a combination of the readings itself and the presentation. Not a summary, as I wrote here. That's not the summarizing and the reading will happen in your actual presentation. I don't need you to turn in a summary of that. Ordinarily, I would have that be due like within 24 hours of the presentation, but it happens to fall on July 4th, which is a holiday, so I've pushed up the due date to the following Monday, so you have time to reflect on that, and you can turn it in. But you can turn it in earlier if that works for you. And the last part and final part of this class is your final paper. This relates to the main objectives of the course, which is exploring your own positionality in relation to who you are as an educator, however you define that more broadly. So this will be a 7 to 9 page paper, and thinking about your own positioning, we're going to unpack these ideas of positionality and intersectionality, and how it relates to you in whatever role that you're in, whether it be a teacher, an educational leader, someone in higher education, a community organizer. The list is expansive in just thinking about where you're positioned. So this is really going to be an autobiographical type of paper, which might be different than some of the other papers that you have written in the past, but really but this is, while autobiographical, it still should be connected to the research. So you should be using at least 6 citations in this paper. And it can be readings we've done throughout the semester, or you can pull in other things. The readings we've done throughout the semester should definitely show up in here. And you can organize the paper in whatever way makes most sense to you. I've had students ask for examples of what this looks like before, and I feel sometimes that boxes people in. And so I just ask that you be creative in thinking about how you would present your positionality to someone. In this case, that someone is me. Now, there is an additional option to do something more creative. So should you want to use another form of a multimedia way to engage with unpacking your positionality, as long as you somehow show the connection still to the research and turn in a list of the citations you're using, you can certainly do that. I've had people do digital projects where they had used like a PowerPoint to talk through. I've had people use music. I've had people do performance. I've had people do scrapbooks. So you are welcome to do something that is outside the box of writing a traditional paper. Just let me know if you have that on your mind so I can look out for what you're doing and make sure that you still are able to follow the basic objectives. Okay, so one last thing in terms of the syllabus that's really important that I point out, and I ask that you read through this climate statement, is just understanding that in terms of like our learning community, I believe that as long as you're doing the work you're doing and I'm putting in the work on my end of giving feedback, grade-wise, that shouldn't be an issue so much in this course. If you're doing the reading and completing the assignments, we'll be good to go. But also more importantly, like because this is a course that touches on issues of critical social justice, sometimes there can be things that are upsetting to students to read, or they make them uncomfortable, or they make them feel guilty. And I think that it's really important that you just be monitoring your experiences throughout this class and just really trying to come back to that first reading that you're going to do for the start of class, Willing to be Disturbed. I'll be referring back to that reading sporadically throughout the semester, and just always be encourage you that I am exposing you to new ideas. We all have different backgrounds. For some of us this might not cause any discomfort, but for others it might cause a lot. So I just ask that you always be open to thinking about how you are responding to the readings. I say in this third paragraph, I don't believe education is neutral. I don't believe that we are not biased. So I come into this class naming my biases, but knowing that my biases are informed by my learned understandings of what I've studied and my lived experiences, but all my learned experiences. And so if I push back and challenge you on something or ideas, it's coming from that positioning. So just like your peers, you might push back on one another. I might push back on you. The idea is for us to be challenging our ideas, not attacking, but we're allowed to have different views. You're allowed to have different views with each other. We're allowed to push back with each other. I just ask that we try to do it in a respectful way. This idea of a safe space in a classroom is lovely, and I'd love for us all to feel that way. Sometimes, though, there needs to be a contested space for learning. So again, that's just something that I'm always going to be on the lookout for. I ask that you come to me if there are issues. Again, it's such a short class, it's going to come and go. So if there's anything that we need to talk about, please, I'm pretty available and open to talking, so definitely come to me. And again, of course, if you feel in some way your grade is being impacted, I can't do anything unless you come talk to me. So I just really ask to open those lines of communication. And lastly, when we're only actually going to be in this face-to-face classroom for 2 days, but something that I ask is that you just be aware of how much you're speaking, so that we're not unfairly dominating conversations, and thinking through just what that looks like in the actual classroom space. There are some more specific guidelines for thinking about what this looks like in an online space and what those expectations are, so please read over that. I'm here at information on academic integrity. If you have any type of accommodation that's needed, please let me know right away so I can make sure that we get everything set up in time. Okay, so this is the live schedule. It's linked to a Google Doc here, and you can read all of the 4 weeks, what's happening. I'm also going to share this link with you when I send the email out. And I've created a key here, so like when something's due to Canvas, purple's when it's a discussion board, red are readings from the Oslam Sensoy text, and pink are from the Owl, Brown, and Calderon text. And then blue are supposed to be links to documentaries. I realize I may not have. I have to fix that. But there's a few documentaries that you're going to be able to get through the My Miami, through your library login. And so basically, right now, what I just need between now and our technical first class day of the week of June 17th, there are 3 things to do, I guess. Read this short reading by Phyllis Wheatley, Willing to be Disturbed. It sets the context for this class and both my teaching philosophy, as well as something I want you to think about as you're working through this course. There are 2 things that you're going to need to do also. So if you come over here, this is the home page and it's the syllabus, but over here you can find everything through files or assignments, but I'm going to go to the modules, in which this will go through each week. That'll open up the different modules of things that you have to do. So the only one that's going to be available for you to see right now is this Introduce Yourself. So this will be due on June 19th. And what I'm going to ask everyone to do is to create a video. You can use a PowerPoint, you can use an actual video. Like I'm using right now QuickTime Player, this screenshot, but if I had done the video webcam, you would have seen me, but I'm using the screen instead. So if you want to use a screen and use like a PowerPoint, you can do that. You can use pictures, or if you want to just talk to the camera, that's fine too. I've had people use like FaceTime or record videos on their phones. Whatever works for you is totally fine. Let us see who you are. If you're not going to use the actual video, if you're going to use a picture so that we can put a face to the name. And then introduce yourself and your pronouns. So I probably should have began by saying I'm Dr. Brittany Aronson. I use she, her, and hers pronouns, and you can call me Brittany, Dr. B, Dr. A, pretty much anything. So I'm okay with however you feel most comfortable introducing me. And then talk a little bit about Miami, what you're doing with this degree, and also share something just to let us get to know you a little bit more, whether it be where you're from, where you work, anything about pets, children, family, hobbies, anything you want to share. There's just some examples here that you can use. Here are a couple things too that you can use to fill in or to actually capture what you're saying. And then lastly, before the start of the semester, I ask that you fill out this demographic form. If you just click on the link, it's going to open up a Word document. So you'll open it, you'll fill this out, and then save it with your last name in the subject, I guess you could call it. And then, so here we go. And this is only for me to see. So, this is personal. Any information you share is for me. So unlike the video you're sharing with all your peers, only I will read this. And I just use this to get to know you a little bit and to think about prior knowledge. And so upload this to the form as well. And so, that's for before class starts. Our first, quote unquote week of classes, so it's this week of June 17th to June 21st, you'll have your first discussion board due that Friday on the 21st, because that's, they're going to be due every Friday. And so within that, you'll have assignments reading from both Sensible and D'Angelo, Al Brown and Calderon. There's an article here by Sleater and Delgado Bernal, and then there's a documentary here called Schooling the World. So those are the things you're going to be doing for that first week. I will, each week, the first and last week that we don't actually meet in person, I will on this first page create a video in which I'll kind of give a little mini lecture talking through some of these ideas that will reflect to whatever the discussion board is here. So when the time comes, these will open up. I'll open this up a week before class starts so you can actually work through the questions. But another thing, all of the readings are up here already that aren't in the book, so you can see weeks 1. You have your pre-reading and that reading, but they also should link, if this is proper, the live Google Calendar also should link to them. Yeah, see, that's opening. Now, on the actual, I'm going to send you the link to the live Google Calendar, but also on the course syllabus is the live Google Calendar is here as well. The only thing is I'm not sure if these links work. I think this is just a view when it's on this one. It's taking a second here. Okay, let me see. Does that work? Yeah, it doesn't work when you actually, you have to do the links from this link, which I'm going to send to you all as well. So I think that that's it for now. I hope this is enough to get you started. I'll send more information about the week's reading and about myself in a little bit. I'll also put a video on the discussion board. And I hope that you all are able to have a great summer. And please don't hesitate to contact me, email. I'm pretty responsive if you have any questions leading up to the course. I look forward to getting to know you all in our short time together, and I hope you have a great rest of your week.